answer. So,
Mhm.
with that being said, we got Moms Mabley. Moms Mabley told the story of her life. And we laughed about it because we didn't understand that she was finding a way as an entertainer to make her money. She found the things that would make people laugh while at the same time talking about the trials and tribulations of her own troubled life.
That's
Mom,
amazing.
yeah, Mom's Mabley was a genius, and her story was recently told in a documentary by Whoopi Goldberg. Encourage
Yes. Yes,
everybody to
I
go
saw
out
that.
there
Yes.
and look at
Yes.
that.
Yes.
This lady, she said what she meant, and she meant what she said. Now, yes, she could get a little racy, but it's the same type of racy that we see right now in what they call inappropriate behavior, like flirting with men. Moms was named for was known for that. But you got to think about what mom said at that time when she was flirting with men and letting guys know that they were, okay, is in terms of her purview. But the thing moms was not telling was the rapes, the brutality, the things that happened to women, the trials and tribulations of things she couldn't have, her troubled life. Those are the stories that she wanted to tell. And if you listen closely, she told them. But America laughed about it.
Yeah, it's. I remember being a kid and listening to her. Back then, they had the records, and you could if somebody was watching her on Ed Sullivan show or something like that. But I remember seeing this lady who looked like a lady on my block telling all these jokes and was dressed like she was just coming home from work, but was popping a lot of shit. I respected that about moms. You know what I'm saying? Because she's like one of her jokes. She's like, "Oh, I walked down the street and I got hit by a cab, and the cab driver leaned out the window and said, 'Hey, you all right?' And mom said, 'Yeah, what are you gonna do? Back over me and do it again?' So she she was like that coming out hard. I
Mm,
remember that. Go ahead, Mark. Oh, wait, let's get Jazz in.
exactly.
Hold your
Exactly.
thought. Hold your thought.
Okay.
Jazz, your
Yes.
thoughts. You might not know who Miles Babley is, but your thoughts on the panel.
Um, I really like how she expressed her authenticity while still doing what she loves, because I think that it's one thing that they want us to do as black entertainers is to make them laugh, but not say how we truly feel and how it truly is for us as entertainers and musicians. And a lot of times I think that today like I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of like why a lot of black artists may appropriate like our own greats of our culture when it comes to music and entertainment, is because like I feel like back then it was still people that like people as in the label that was have a say so on, oh, I don't want you to put this song or this vibration out there because it would it would help the world too much. Like it would raise the vibrations, like I feel like us as blacks, I really feel like we have a really a really strong presence when it comes to influence, and that's the reason why they try to control what it is that we can put out there and what we cannot. So I think that they use a lot of old music and they sample off of it, or they may use certain lines or beats or even original vibrations that was an original song to tell what they're really feeling, a glimpse in what they may have wrote over the song or over their entertainment, is to tell them like originally this is what I really wanted to put out there, but I'm just gonna put my own little like negative vibe to it that the label wants me to put on it, but I didn't want to put that out there just to satisfy them, and maybe someone can tell the difference on in my art, what I really wanted to say behind closed doors. When it comes to this lady, I really think that we should continue to do things the way that she has done them, honestly.
I agree. Well said. Mark, go ahead, jump in there, man.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to add to that is one of the things that Moms Mabley did, and I think Earl can back me up on this and everything, is that Moms was not afraid to tackle institutions. And sometimes in our society, even in the modern day, a lot of people are afraid to tackle those conversations. Like we know that the divorce is sometimes talked about in the Black church, and definitely there is differences between the way women and men are treated. And Moms Mabley and other comedians like her actually dealt with those issues, and definitely might put one face on when they were on the front of the mainstream camera, but then would deal with these issues in other situations. I'm gonna mention another Adam that I know, that another individual I know Earl knows, which is the guy that was part of Amos and Andy. But what folks could get is that guy also made Black films when he was not playing Amos and Andy. So he actually played a very stereotypical role, but then he would do these very powerful kind of religious kind of plays and all along those lines. I think the name was Spencer Williams, if I remember correctly. And that's correct or not, Earl and everything. But I think it was Spencer Williams that played that role and then would make these more powerful films about the Black church and the more positive messages coming out of the Black church, even though he's playing that very negative role of, I think he's playing Amos, not Amos, of Amos and Andy and everything. But it's just interesting how we can sometimes, and we've even seen that in modern day times, because I was having a conversation earlier about Tyler Perry, and I'm not the biggest fan sometimes because of the shuck and jive of Tyler Perry, but then you look at what he's doing with movies like Hidden Image and other things. So he took that kind of shuck and jive mentality and is now putting out some positive images that are Black history of today.
Well said. We had a beautiful show today. The panel was awesome. You guys were all on fire. I can't thank you guys enough. The reason why we wanted to start off February with a powerful panel from our audience and having different opinions about what Black history means to all of us, right? And I'm going to go around and I'm just going to let everybody speak, for a minute or two about what Black history actually means to you as an individual. Mark, can you take Moms off? Moms, we love you. We ain't gonna forget about you.
We can
look at you, so sweet, popping that shit. I love it. Moms was hardcore now. People don't know. She used to be gambling backstage. Like Dr. Wilson said, watch that special. Whoopi Goldberg. Watch it. She told the story, man. Moms did not play. She was back there in the back gambling with the men, smoking cigarettes. Moms was on it. She was on it, man. I'm gonna start with Earl, and please tell us, in your astute wisdom of the way you voiced what you're trying to tell us and the education you gave us today, what Black History Month means to you.
Well, just quickly, I'll dovetail on something that was just said, is that comedians and historians are the ones who have the license to tell the truth in our society. So I like to say that in jest a lot of times before my lectures or presentation as a disclaimer, because particularly in today's society, the historical truth of our story can fly in the face of his story. And as a historian and curator, I always travel with primary sources, artifact documents, photographs, oral histories, so that when I'm presenting history, I'm literally reciting and repeating the historical provenance or provenience of the source, that original source where I got it. And I am myself a vessel of whatever story that I get an opportunity to share, and use my skills and talent as a historian to convey that to my audience and to you. And in this sense, I'll leave it with Nat Jones again. I mentioned Nat Jones' 10th anniversary, the father of funk music. I created an exhibit called Hey America, Eastern North Carolina and the Birth of Funk. And I just briefly talked about it, but the instance of it was Nat Jones, Maceo Parker, people like Dick Knight and those crowds who played with James Brown all told me that James Brown wanted to get with him because they had funk and he didn't. He was tied into a white record music contract where they told him if he ever sung again, they would sue him. So in his third grade genius, he got on the Chitlin Circuit together with, and here in Greensboro, North Carolina, in April of 1964, And him and Maceo Parker, who's the predecessor of All the King's Men and George Clinton out of North Carolina, Cabarrus County, outside of Charlotte. All of those guys got together and they created a musical where James Brown played on the first funk album called Grits and Soul, 1964. Check it out. And changed the whole trajectory of music. And in the words of Nat Jones, Papa got a brand new bag. In other words, we got James Brown, the world's most famous entertainer, and we're conjoining him with the dopest underground sound of that time called funk music, produced by Nat Jones, with Maceo Parker and Melvin Parker and Dick Knight playing and creating a genre of music that is now the basis of basically most of the music coming out of America today.
Look at that. Right here on Funk from the Front Seat, Black History Month. This is why we do this show. Mr. Lee.
No doubt. I'm just going to keep it very simple and very short and succinct. Black history to me is not just the history that Brother Earl was talking about, which is definitely a lot of that history that we know, whether that's the Frederick Douglasses or the ones that I mentioned to you yesterday, Mary Bethune-Cookman, and a number of others that did some great things in education, but it's also our family history. And as Earl said earlier, it's about us making sure that we are maintaining that history and learning that history and keeping that history going, because one of the things that frustrates me sometimes is that young people, like the young lady we've got on today, and others don't always know that personal history. And that's something that I try to even encourage my nephews to do, which is learn that history of those that have passed on. So I know for a fact that my nephews know that my grandmother was one of the founders of the first Black library in Raleigh, and that the Bosley building there in Central is named after their great granddad, because it was my granddad, so it was their great granddad, and all along those lines. So we're keeping that history going, and I think that that's important, that we don't let the history die, and that we get others to study the history, because we all have these kinds of stories that are somewhere in our family tree, whether it is the history that is tied to our churches, whether it's the history that's tied to our schools, or whether it's just the history that is in our family. So I would urge everybody to go out there and have that documented in their families.
Amen. And shout out to young James Brown. Cheryl.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hit me with that phone.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing this piece. And Zach, I got to tell you, and Earl, we got to keep this going. I know Black History is only once a month, but just looking at people like Jazz, trying to really understand the history, we got to find a way to throw this in the podcast at least once a month, because it's important that we learn what's going on in our history. And when I go back to Jazz, Ancestry.com is your best friend. Pay that $69.99 and find your people, especially if you're in North Carolina. Because if you guys remember back when they start trying to find our people their own land, North Carolina is one of the main places. People were leaving Las Vegas, moving to North Carolina because they want to be able to get what was owned to their parents and ancestors. But then North Carolina done came back and found a way to put a snag in it. So every time our people, whether they're Hispanic or Indian, is out there trying to recoup what was owned to them, somewhere in the media, we find a way to snoop it back from them. Even with California, they come out giving homeless people, if they can prove that their ancestors got taken or money taken, they'll get $1 million. I ain't heard nothing about that yet, but because I'm military public affairs and I have to follow what's going on in the world with soldiers, I'm also following our history. And I'm following the way African Americans are not getting they just due. So we need this history, and we need to continue to talk about this. Each one teach one. Meet people where they are, but don't be no fool. Integrity, diversity and inclusion. Don't let them make that go away, because you got this platform to keep it going. And I'm gonna say to you, Earl, on that piece about genealogy and this music, don't let them win. Who cares what the Supreme Court approved? Let's continue to fight, and let's continue to find a way to keep the music that our original people made, that they get compensated for. Because if you don't got people doing stuff like this, it's not gonna happen. If you don't speak and be transparent, people not gonna know your true feeling. Everything you hold in, all it's doing is affecting you. So we gotta, at some point, whether we here today or gone tomorrow, keep the freaking funk alive, and that's the people that are pushing to make it happen. Both
So before Doctor and Jazz goes, I wanted to say I'm always taking in information. This Black History thing that we're doing right now, we can put this in the rotation every 6 weeks. Okay, and we'll have Earl on with more stuff. Mark, yourself, Cheryl can be the host. You just gave me the thought. So every 6 weeks now, Earl, if it's okay with you, I want to have you come back on, and we're gonna do history, and we'll call it, hey, Fun from the Front Seat, bang, History Day, because we need to do this. Dr. Wilson, I'm gonna save you for last. Jazz, your thoughts on Black History Month?
I think Black history is. I'm not even going to say a his or her. It's God's story. It's God's story, and like God is so evident in us and all around us. In the fact that He is like God is omniverse. Like He's
Omnipresent.
omnipresent. Got you. He's everywhere at all given times. It's always switching and changing, and I think that it's all meant to always change for the better. I just feel like in society there's always been this energy of trying to have us to forget and to destroy and rewrite our history every single time, and I'm just tired of that. Like I think that we should still work on keeping it truly authentic, and to also like be honest. Like I really want the honesty to be more forefront when it comes to us and our history, like when it comes to the good and also the bad. Because it's important, like as much as we go through as a people, it's like the blueprint for solving so many problems, because it's like been there, done that, you know and it's not even in the most plain way, like the trials and tribulations that we have been through, and as many as we have been through, it's not like just a straight line. It tells a story. It's art. It's beauty. Like J. Cole says that there's beauty in the struggle. Like I always find so much beautiful stuff in
Right.
all of the struggle, and like a lot of as much pressure as the slaves was under, they always were singing. Like, how am I trying to beat your back open and you still singing? Like, how is that? I mean, the soul. Our soul is so strong. I think that that's why it's taking the whole world to try and break us. It's not enough. It's not enough.
And you're going to be a regular on the show too, because I need your millennial thought process. Okay, so bang, every 6 weeks. Dr. Wilson, of course, I saved you fast only because the way you frame things, I always love how you give me this knowledge that I need, along with Earl, Mr. James, and along with Mark,
I
along with
love
Cheryl.
to be here. I would love
Yo,
to be more often and listen to you guys.
hey, it's done. It's already done. It's already taken care of. Right, Cheryl? Cheryl's my co-host, so her and I are going to be doing a lot of stuff this summer, and for the rest of the seasons, because she's just with it. But Dr. Wilson, please, I'm gonna give you this and let you go ahead and do your thing, man, about Black History Month.
Yes, thank you, Zach. And please know that this audience that you're providing is essential. You have to look at the people who need the information and then determine how much of it do you really need to know. In terms of Black history, it is not Black history, it is American history. And if we can find a way to not categorize who we are, maybe other people won't categorize who we are. Another point that is important, if you are holding on to historical artifacts, give them to the people that know what to do with them. Right. There is no reason to hold on to critical information or historical information, be it Black, white, Chinese, but to hold information that can somehow educate others in the future is irresponsible. So we have to take accountability for our history. For this segment, we're talking about Black history. Don't misunderstand. I am very proud of our culture. but we're a culture within a culture, and we will not let people separate who we are. So if we separate us, we're forever separated. So let's remember that we have to document, we have to give information to those that know how to properly share information with others, and then we have to tell the truth. One thing that I love about Moms Mabley, and I'm going to end with this. She said, I just tell folks the truth. And if they don't want the truth, don't come to Moms. So that's what I look about with your show, Zach. If they don't want the truth, don't come to this show.
Exactly. Hey, you know what? This has been like God is in a space in our lives with this joy, right? I literally just moved this week. Finally got set. I was trying to figure out where I was going to put the laptop and this and that, right? And I was like, man, I don't even have a show, right? I had no guests. I had nothing. I had nothing, right, Mark? I called you on Thursday.
Zach, it worked out perfectly. You had amazing conversation, like you said, and everything. I wanted to piggyback on something that Dr. Pamela said, because one of the frustrations that I have, and I know that we're going to end the show and everything, is I can tell you that there are a number of photographers and videographers that literally their families, because I know some of these families, own these properties of things that they documented, but they don't know what to do with it. So they are sitting in closets doing nothing. And these are things that were documented in terms of like concerts that were done here in Durham in like the 70s and the 80s, and I would even argue the 90s and the 2000s. But it frustrates me when I know that those families have those photographs, including some that are associated with North Carolina Central University, but the family is letting them sit in a closet, to your point, Dr. Pamela, and are not doing anything with it, which means that eventually those things are going to be destroyed. And to me, that is a travesty.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I'd like to comment on that because what you said is very important, Mark. The point is wherever you are, you have to meet people there. Right. You meet people where they are. And when you get there, you help people where they are. So if you're holding back, you're being very irresponsible. So if we want to do better by the culture and do better by history, let's be responsible in what we deliver and then what we say.
That's right. We're going to end on that. Mark, Earl, Cheryl, Jazz, Dr. Wilson, and everybody out there watching that was on the thread, and those of you that just watched the show, I know I get a lot of hits. Everybody goes back and watches it. There's going to be a 2-part show. It ran, but it's okay because it's very, very important that we do this, like Cheryl said, every 5 to 6 weeks. So we're going to have a panel, and we'll just make it a regular thing. Okay, Mark, we'll make that happen. Yeah. I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. And remember, Black history is not just about Black people. It's history of the world and things that we've contributed, like Mr. James says so eloquently, right? And when we come together as a nation and stop looking at Black, white, Spanish, Latino, Puerto Rican, just look at human beings, that we work side by side in so many ways, and then we go and have these horrible differences. We need to make our differences less than, because when it comes right down to it, we are all part of the world. Carl Sagan said it best, the pale blue dot. If I suggest you go read that book, it's very, very important. Because in the grand scheme of things, we're just a pale blue dot in space. So keep that mindset. Let's come together. Keep the tribe mentality. I want to thank each and every one of you. We're going to get out of here today with one of my favorite vids. I appreciate you. This has been an amazing show. Funk from the Front Seat every Saturday, 12 p.m.
It's however you feel, but it's however you feel, but you just have to fit it between that space, that little space that you got, which is one. And then you would try to fit your different notes, but you felt in between it, like, and that's the funk, and you can change that.
the power of the one. It's the power of the one. You know this song has just begun. You can lean on me. Let your mind be free, Bob. Light shall not won't die. But I need the funk, baby. Of the funk is the power of the one, Bob. One!
The power of the one. And y'all know how that goes. We just want to say thank you once again. We're going to bring, not Moms up, we're going to bring Cheryl up. And Cheryl, I appreciate you, man, all your hard work and everything that you did to make today happen. And thank you for, becoming, the co-host of Funk from the Front Seat. It means a lot. So we're going to do this thing, this funk history thing every 5 weeks. Of course, I want you to host and come in and do your thing. So thank you, everybody out there watching. Remember, power of the one. Funk, not fight.
That's it. Funk, not fight. Love you, brother. Thank you for all your help.
I'll see you later.
Love you.
All right, we get ready to get out of here. Funk from the Front Seat. Mr. Mark Lee, where's this gentleman at? Hold on. We got to get him in to say goodbye. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. You are funk royalty. You are royalty on this show. Always a guest, always welcome. As much as you want to come on, you're part of the funk now. So I'm wearing these in honor of your story. I had to break out the funk glasses and say to my guy Boosie, "Yabba dabba doozy baba."
And you can walk on the water and not.
It's official.
He locked in.